The exchange of the 2000 rupee currency note has started today across banks across the country. Of course, people expectedly are rushing to exchange before the currency is withdrawn and becomes outdated. And therefore, what we are being told is interesting, that there is a boom in the gold and silver market and at the petrol pumps. The SBI has informed that a tenderer will not have to fill any requisition form or provide their identity proof if they are getting their 2000 rupee currency note exchanged up to the amount of 20,000 rupees at a time. That means only 10 notes can be exchanged at one time. PAN card will be needed for cash amounts more than 50,000 rupees a day. Meanwhile, there are three options that you can use to exchange the 2000 rupee note till September 30th. First, use it as a legal tender in shops. Second, exchange up to 20,000 rupees in banks. And third, simply deposit all the money in the bank account.
It's a part of the currency management operations of the Reserve Bank. According to Section 27 of the RBI Act, the Reserve Bank is required to not issue notes which are excessively soiled, defaced or damaged. Under that section, for a long time, the Reserve Bank has been following what is called a clean note policy. Therefore, from time to time, Reserve Bank withdraws currency notes of particular series and issues fresh notes. हमारा expectation ये है कि most of these notes will come back. अभी तो शुरू नहीं हुआ exchange, कल से शुरू होगा. हमारा expectation है कि वापस आ जाएंगे. These notes were primarily issued to replenish the currency, what you call remonetization. That purpose has been fulfilled. Now, what you say, what you have just pointed out is right. I mean, when you have our high value notes, these 2000 rupee notes or even 500 rupee notes, so far their security features have not been breached.
Logistics aside, this has become a huge political showdown with Samajwadi Party leader Ram Gopal Yadav has called Prime Minister Modi as Mohammed bin Tughlaq. Here's what he said.
मोहम्मद तुगलक को क्या कहा, लोगों ने कैसा सवाल किया करते थे आप लोगों को? भाई ये शासन के बारे में, यहाँ के शासकों के बारे में लोगों की धारणा है 1500 करोड़ रुपया केवल 2000 नोट के छपाई के लगे थे, छपाई। अब ये दोबारा छपेंगे नए, जो इन्होंने 500 के बंद कर दिए थे, छपेंगे कि नहीं छपेंगे? फिर छपेंगे। तो ये हज़ारों करोड़ रुपया बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, इनको तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता क्या करना चाहिए। किंग कर्तव्य विमूढ़ हो गए। ये सिर्फ इसलिए किया है कि कर्नाटक में बुरी तरह से हार गए हैं, उससे लोगों का ध्यान हटाने के लिए इन्होंने नई पेज डाल दिया। हालांकि ये तो ऐसा है कि आप दूसरे की अटेंड करने के लिए अपनी आंख फोड़ लो, वही ये कर रहे हैं, सब देश को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं।
So let's go across to my colleague Aishwarya Paliwal, who can help calm down some of the nerves as well. Aishwarya, good morning. If a viewer is watching right now wondering how to deposit the 2000 rupee notes, what are the options that you can tell them? Because many would be wondering, and as has been now mentioned, that there's no need of the identity proof at least for 20,000 rupees deposit and exchange.
Right, Pooja. Let me also tell you one thing which is very interesting, and that is something that the RBI governor has also been clarifying, is the fact that if you stand in a queue and you take 20,000 rupees, that's the limit in one go. But you can obviously, if you have more money, stand back in the queue and again go and deposit that money. So that way, there is no limit. However, it depends from bank to bank, Pooja. There are some banks which might ask you for a PAN card if the amount is more than 50,000. That's what we are understanding from the banks at the moment. However, you can still go out and use the rupee note. That's what the RBI governor has also clarified, and you have enough time. That's what the government and the RBI has been speaking about, that there is no need to panic, and that probably is the point, Pooja, that we are seeing at least in the big cities. There is no rush at the banks at the moment. That's the reason, because people understand they have time till 30th September. What will happen after 30th September? That's a question that still needs to be answered.
Correct.
At the moment,
and hopefully it will be enough time. Unlike in demonetization, there is that period that we have. It's month of May, September 30th will be that final date. Aishwarya, thank you very much for updating us. And this, remember, has been in mention that it will be put out of circulation, and this time there has been a period given as well. I'm heading into a very short commercial break. I take you to Australia after, because that's where the Indian diaspora is preparing with massive celebrations. An aircraft full of Indian diaspora from across Australia has reached Sydney. There are meetings that are taking place with business honchos with Prime Minister Modi, focus on trade and investment. final leg of the three-nation tour. I'll get you the details after a very short break.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
All right, it's the big meeting and visit to Australia by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a welcome by Indian diaspora and, of course, meetings with business honchos as well. Joining me this morning is a special guest. Former Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott, is joining us in this morning telecast. Mr. Abbott, I appreciate you giving us your time and speaking to India Today television. You've also met Prime Minister Modi earlier when you were the Prime Minister. There have been a lot of talks on trade agreements, on investment. How do you look at this moment right now as the Indian Prime Minister is back in Australia and there are a lot of meetings scheduled?
Wonderful to have Prime Minister Modi back in Australia. This is his first visit since 2014. Yes, there have been a number of Australian prime ministerial visits to India in the meantime, but regular visits at the top level between good friends are very important to developing the relationship. And I don't think India has a more prospective partner anywhere in the world than Australia. I think Australia has wonderful potential to be a source of resource security to India, as well as wonderful potential to be an additional security partner in a world which is at the moment looking quite unsettled, even dangerous.
Mr. Abbott, your meetings previously have been with Prime Minister Modi and focusing on boosting people-to-people ties, on economic relationships as well. Do you think that is something that needs to be, again, bridges that must be formed more? That is something that needs to be pushed ahead in this meeting as well?
As Prime Minister Modi himself said just yesterday, the nearly 1 million Australians of Indian background form a living bridge between our two countries. But I don't think that India should only be of interest to the Indian diaspora here in Australia. I think India should be of massive interest to the general Australian population. First, because India has enormous potential to substitute for China as a market and as a source of goods in our vital supply chains. And second, because India is the world's emerging democratic superpower. And in the world right now, we sure need another democratic superpower to help the United States to maintain a rules-based global order. This rules-based global order is under massive challenge, obviously from Russia in Ukraine, but in our part of the world, particularly from China. And this is where I think India has so much potential to be a force for good. India has democracy, the rule of law, to a considerable extent the English language, the world's common language. And this is why I think in the decades to come, if there is to be a leader of the free world, it's as likely to be the Indian Prime Minister as the American President.
Mr. Abbott, because you're making a very interesting point here. There has been a lot of focus on the Western powers like the United States of America and the United Kingdom and Europe in general. Do you think it is time also for Australia and India to rise together and be seen as those big superpowers in a global changing order?
Absolutely. One of the great things about the Modi Prime Ministership is that under Prime Minister Modi, India is starting to take its rightful place in the world's global leadership councils. I think India is now taken extremely seriously, not just in the region and on the subcontinent, but right around the world, as it should be. Because not only is India now the world's most populous country, it's in nominal terms the world's fifth largest economy. In purchasing power terms, it's probably substantially bigger than that. And I think that the upside potential in India is simply massive. And I think it would be all to the good of India and indeed of democracies everywhere, including Australia, for India to be playing a maximal leadership role in the months, years and decades to come. And that's exactly what I think India's been doing under Prime Minister Modi.
What would be your focus, do you think, should be in this meeting? How has your relationship been with Prime Minister Modi? You met him previously as well. Until 2021, there have been a lot of times that those meetings have taken place. So do tell us, what are your expectations from Prime Minister Modi's visit to Australia, one? And secondly, about your relationship with Prime Minister Modi?
When I was Prime Minister, the two most impressive figures on the world stage were Narendra Modi and Shinzo Abe, and between them, they are chiefly responsible for the Quad, which I think is the most important strategic development since the formation of NATO back in the late 1940s. I've always had a very warm relationship with Prime Minister Modi. I appreciate the fact that he isn't just another politician, he's also a deeply spiritual man. I appreciate the fact that he does want to reach out to the wider world rather than simply focus on subcontinental affairs. One of the great things that Prime Minister Modi and I were able to do together was initiate the India-Australia trade talks.
Yes.
Just a few months back, they came to fruition in the ECTA agreement, I think the important thing is for both sides to make the most of that. And the point I keep making to major Australian businesses is, please, just as a few decades ago you all had a China strategy, now that so much of that has been thwarted and frustrated, now you all need to have an India strategy. Because, as I say, India is an extraordinary potential source of markets for Australia, of resource and energy security Australia can provide to India. And then, of course, there's the supply chain gaps, which I think India is extremely well placed to fill.
Mr. Abbott, because China appeared as and tried to emerge as a challenger to the United States of America, but it's also been amid a lot of controversies with the aggression that China has led with. Do you think that's one of the reasons that in Asia specifically, it can be an Indian century, it can be a time of India where with its democracy like you're mentioning, and perhaps not the aggression that China has followed, it can become one of those global friends that the world needs at a time like this?
Well, I've often said, and I think it's absolutely been true, that America is the only country that has had both the strength and the benevolence to be, if you like, the world's policeman. But I think in coming decades, India has the capacity to likewise have the kind of strength and benevolence that America has shown over the last 70 years, and which arguably Britain showed in the century before that. So I think that there's enormous potential for India to exercise liberal democratic leadership, not just in our region, but throughout the world. It started to do this under Prime Minister Modi, and I hope this very much continues.
Mr. Abbott, let's talk about your Indian experience and connection as well. You have visited Delhi, you've visited our country. Anything that you remember as a fond memory? What is it about India that you like, apart from, of course, the official meetings that you've indulged in, Mr. Abbott?
Well, Pooja, my first trip to India was back in 1981 when I was quite young. I was a student backpacking my way from Australia to England. And I thought it would be discourteous of me to fly over hundreds of millions of Indians without paying them a visit. So I had almost 3 months backpacking around India, starting in Bombay, moving through Rajasthan to Delhi, up into Kashmir, and eventually I went to Bihar province, where the Australian Jesuits had a mission. I spent quite a few weeks helping in the schools in Hazaribagh, in Bokaro's Steel City, in Dalton Ganj and elsewhere. I have very fond memories of that trip. I loved the work that the Australian Jesuits were doing, but I also loved the way the Indian people were so keen to better themselves and were so keen to make the most of all of their heritage, including the heritage of recent times, and so keen to make the most of their education. And I certainly did my best when I was a young graduate in those schools in Bihar to try to encourage that quenchless curiosity which is at the heart of any person who really wants to make a difference and be a force for good.
That's very heartening to hear that you had good experience and memories. And I'm also pleasantly surprised that you remember all the names of all the states and the areas that you visited. I appreciate that, Mr. Abbott. The last time Prime Minister Modi visited Australia, you were the Prime Minister. If you can tell us a little bit about, I mean, we've discussed it already, but about your interactions at that point. What was the focus then? And do you think that has helped make a bridge, form a bridge from where other issues are also now being discussed with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that every Australian Prime Minister wants to be a good friend of the Indian Prime Minister. But I think there's no doubt that Prime Minister Modi has gone the extra mile, as well as his ministers. For instance, Foreign Minister Jaishankar has been to Australia 3 times in just the last 12 months. So India, to its credit, is making a big effort with Australia. And I think that Australia, particularly in my time, in Prime Minister Morrison's time, and now in Prime Minister Albanese's time, is making a big effort with India. I'll never forget spending time with Prime Minister Modi back in 2014. His speech to the Australian Parliament was a wonderful, wonderful speech. He got a rock star welcome from Australians, particularly Australians of Indian background. He responded to them with enormous warmth and enthusiasm. And I think he really did feel very much at home here. And I've got to say, whenever I visit India, while India is, I suppose, exotic by Australian standards, you never feel like a stranger. You never feel like you're a foreigner in India. And I certainly want to see a great sense of warmth between Australians and Indians, because I think that can only be good for both countries and for the wider world.
Mr. Abbott, on behalf of all Indians, I would love to see you back in India and visit many more places. It's a diverse nation. But importantly, you've made some very important points, and that's about democracy standing with each other to ensure that the next changing global order will have nations like Australia and India as friends. And you have been a part of forming those friendship and bridges as well. Former Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Tony Abbott, thank you very much for speaking to India Today Television.
Thank you, Praja.
Let's go on the ground then in Australia. What is the present situation in Sydney looking like? What are the preparations and specifically arrangements by the Indian diaspora? Senior journalist Vishal Monga in Sydney is joining me in this telecast. Vishal, over to you. We had this conversation with Tony Abbott just right now, and he was, of course, praising how Indian diaspora and Indians and now Prime Minister's visitors as well has contributed in forging that friendship between Australia and India. You tell us now, what is Sydney looking like today with the arrival of PM Modi?
And as you can see, the celebrations that are going on here, here to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. If you see, there is rounds going on. Thousands of people are expected to reach here by around 2 o'clock. What I can tell you is that 5 p.m. when this whole program will start, there will be 20,000 people here to meet the stadium. What I can show you right now is the decorations that are going on. These events will be performed inside the stadium. As of now, they're practicing outside, and the food is really strong.
Okay. Stay on with me, Vishal. We want to just dip into the audio right now. A lot of whole drama there, all of that there with the Indian diaspora that has made all these arrangements for Prime Minister Modi's welcome. So let's dip in, meanwhile, to all the reactions that have come in about Prime Minister Modi's arrival there. He's met business honchos in Australia and the Indian diaspora.
Prime Minister, of course, is a very impressive person who understands business, which is very encouraging as well. The Prime Minister talked about his dreams for India and his ethic, which was a really powerful message. Australian Super does invest in India, of course, and in particular the National Indian Infrastructure Fund. And we've had very good experience in investing in India.
We acknowledged together that the fossil fuel sector has only limited time to run, and it must be replaced with a fuel which causes no harm but can do everything which coal, oil and gas can do. I also thanked him for his humanitarian efforts. Under Prime Minister Modi, he's been able to spread economic growth throughout the grassroots of India. This has really helped with eliminating one country after another. We all have to do it. Slavery from India, and I showed my gratitude for that.
Right now we are in front of the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So a group of eight people, they have climbed this bridge and we have made the history. First it was Modi Airways in the morning 6:30 that took off from Melbourne to Sydney. That happened first time, and now we have climbed this harbour bridge. You can see here, this is Australia-India friendship climb, and we are here. There are two pillars. You can see that every friendship has two pillars. We have seen the friendship from Mahabharata, where we have Krishna Arjuna, or where we have Krishna and Sudama. So similarly, Australian and Indian PM, they are meeting here. As we can see the tallest arc bridge in front of me, you can see that we are meeting our tallest leader of the world. You can see the excitement in the diaspora. What I can say, Namo is best, east or west, Namo is the best. And today we have gathered around 18,000 Indian diaspora who have come from different states to see or to hear their beloved Prime Minister Modi. I have written a song for him. If I get a chance, I would like to sing that song in front of this camera. Everyone will sing with me. Namo, 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 namo. Namo, 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 namo. सूरज सा तेज दिखे जिसमें तारों सी जगमग हो. सूरज सा तेज दिखे जिसमें तारों सी जगमग हो. नमो 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 नमो.
Well, we just welcoming Modi, Prime Minister here in Sydney, and we are very excited to see him. So we are, he's a great person. He's a, great Prime Minister, and we all welcoming here.
Since he came as the Prime Minister of India, I've seen that reputation and the international value of India has increased. I've been here since 19 years, and before 2014, Indians were poor Indians. And since then, suddenly brand image of Indians has been increased.
Let's take you through all the latest developments that have come in from Australia with regard to Prime Minister Modi's visit. Let's begin. Prime Minister Modi arrived in Sydney. This is the third and final leg of the three-nation visit on Monday night. He was received by Australian High Commissioner to India, Barry O'Farrell, and other officials upon the arrival. Members of the Indian diaspora gave a grand welcome in Australia as Prime Minister Modi landed in Sydney last night. Several Indians were seen sporting the tricolour, wearing the turban, excited to meet their leader. Apart from that, there were serious business interactions as well. Top Australian CEOs met Prime Minister Modi in Sydney. He pitched India among the top investment destinations in the world. Prime Minister invited Australian CEOs to partner with India's growth story. About 170 Indian origin people took a chartered flight, booked the whole aircraft from Melbourne to Sydney to attend Prime Minister's event. Members of the Indian Australian Diaspora Foundation, sporting a tricolour themed turban, waving national flag, dancing their way to the flight named by Prime Minister supporters as Modi Airways. All right, so as and when more interactions and an event by the diaspora begins, we'll be cutting across live to that. Let's now give you an update about the heat wave that has struck us already, specifically in the North Indian states. There is the temperature, the mercury that's soaring already, and we are being told that there are not just Delhi NCR, but parts of Haryana, Punjab, also witnessing scorching heat. Temperature have crossed 44-degree mark in most places. This is the first widespread heat over such a large part, including parts of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, even covering isolated pockets of Jharkhand and Bengal. As per the Met Department, light rain shower are expected to bring relief in Delhi from Wednesday onward for 3 to 4 days.
Moisture incursion is there in northwest India, and already Rajasthan, say 3 UTC temperatures have fallen slightly, so we are expecting that Rajasthan temperatures will fall slightly, but heat wave conditions will persist, and from tomorrow we will see amelioration because there is a fresh western disturbance coming, so medium upper level clouds will cover the sky, and moisture also incursion will start, so we are expecting that temperatures will start to fall over this entire region and heat wave conditions will MLA race.
सर मैं ये जानना चाहूँगा कि लगातार गर्मी जो है वो तेजी के साथ बढ़ रही है। कल दिल्ली में 46 डिग्री के आसपास टेम्परेचर जो है वो पहुंचा है। आज की अगर बात करें तो क्या टेम्परेचर का स्तर है?
देखिए आज के लिए हमने हीट वेव का अलर्ट येलो अलर्ट जारी किया हुआ है और आज जो है टेम्परेचर हमारे पास उन्हीं एरिया में लगभग जहां पर आप बात करें नजफगढ़ और मुजफ्फरपुर और साथ में देखेंगे पीतमपुरा दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के आसपास का जो एरिया है यहाँ पर टेम्परेचर 45 से 46 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड आज भी रिकॉर्ड किया जाएगा और जो कि आप कह सकते हैं हीट वेव की कंडीशन फुलफिल करेगा। तो दिल्ली में आज हीट वेव हमारे पास रहेगा और जो बाकी आपका रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑब्जर्वेटरीज हैं वहाँ पर टेम्परेचर जैसे कि सफदरजंग में लगभग 43 और 44 के बीच में रिकॉर्ड किया जाएगा।
सर अगर मैप के जरिए समझे तो दिल्ली यहाँ में दिख रही है, उसके आसपास के एरिया के अंदर बादल जो है वो दिखाई दे रहे हैं। क्या माना जाए कि बारिश की कब तक संभावना है या वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस है जो आएगा?
देखिए अभी आप नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया में प्लेन्स में देखेंगे तो दिल्ली के आसपास आपको ब्लैक सा एरिया दिख रहा है। इसका मतलब है हमारे पास इस एरिया में कोई भी क्लाउड नहीं है। जैसे यूपी में, दिल्ली में, हरियाणा में, पंजाब में और राजस्थान में ऑलमोस्ट क्लाउड हमारे पास नहीं है। इसका मतलब है स्काई क्लियर है, जो सन की एनर्जी है पूरी सफिशिएंट अमाउंट में आ रही है। इसलिए हमारे पास टेम्परेचर सिर्फ दिल्ली एनसीआर में नहीं पूरे इन राज्यों में पंजाब, हरियाणा, पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश और नॉर्थ राजस्थान में भी बढ़ रही है और ये आज बढ़ी रहेगी पूरे रीजन में।
So if you are venturing out, ensure you're wearing a protected gear, carrying a water bottle and don't let the heat wave strike you. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. Lots more on the other side after a very short break. We get you the big story about the 2000 rupee note. What are the options that are available to you to exchange, to deposit in the banks? What are the procedure like? We get you the latest from the ground. Stay tuned.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 43 and minimum 32 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 39 and minimum 26 degrees. Bengaluru, maximum 34 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 38 and minimum 25 degrees.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mode.
Is there enough understanding of lifestyle diseases? That's the big question.
The only news channel to focus on what matters the most, and that is your health. India's news TV industry's only health show. India Today's relentless effort to bring to you the best reports and the best medical and wellness experts on health, lifestyle, wellness and more. Watch Health 360 with Sneha Murdani at these times, only on India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 43 and minimum 32 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 39 and minimum 26 degrees. Bengaluru, maximum 34 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 38 and minimum 25 degrees.
Kerala's public health. All political parties traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Is there enough understanding of lifestyle diseases? That's the big question.
The only news channel to focus on what matters the most, and that is your health. India's news TV industry's only health show. India Today's relentless effort to bring to you the best reports and the best medical and wellness experts on health, lifestyle, wellness and more. Watch Health 360 with Sneha Mordani at these times only on India Today.
₹2,000 note exchange begins at the bank. You will need no slip, no identity proof for the exchange. But 10 notes of 2,000 is the limit per swap, and you can also deposit in the banks. Prime Minister Modi kickstarting the Australia tour by meeting with company CEOs and businessmen. Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott speaks to India today, hails Prime Minister Modi and India, and calls Modi a natural leader of the free world. It's old politics over new parliament. Opposition targets the Prime Minister over inauguration, claims it's an insult to the President. Bharatiya Janata Party slams the Congress Party over parliament hypocrisy, cites Indira and Rajiv example. 2024 Gathbandhan talks are getting fast-tracked. Nitish Kumar intensifying mission opposition. Arvind Kejriwal to meet Mamata Banerjee and Uddhav Thackeray for support. Karnataka Mantri may just have slipped out a massive revelation, that about no power sharing formula. He claims Siddaramaiah will remain Chief Minister for 5 years. NIA team visiting London right now to investigate into the Indian mission attack on March 19th. 5-member NIA team leaving for London to probe the Khalistan extremists' attack on Indian High Commission, remember, in the month of March.
Our top story this morning, breaking piece of information that's coming in from Bengaluru at the moment. It's killer civic apathy in Bengaluru. A 32-year-old drowns in storm water drain. Man slips and falls into drain, dies. Body of man found 5 kilometers away from the spot. A day after techie drowned to death in the rains. Now man falls into Bengaluru drain and dies. Complete civic mess over there, which is costing lives at the moment. This is something that the new administration will have to look at immediately. Now, a 32-year-old has drowned in a storm water drain. Anagha, my colleague, is joining us over the phone line from Bengaluru. Anagha, what happened? Tell us about the incident.
Follow me. So the deceased has been identified as Mr. Lokesh. He worked as a housekeeping person in a private firm, and he, along with his friends, wanted to check the depth of the depth of the flooded rainwater, and that is why when he dipped his leg inside the water, he accidentally slipped, fell inside the water, and succumbed to the injuries after falling down. He, along with his friends, they just wanted to check the depth of the water, and that is why, out of this mischievous activity, when he tried doing that, he accidentally fell inside the water and lost his life.
Okay, and what is the administration saying? Because this is another such incident that is coming to light of civic apathy.
That's right, Paulami, that the administration and the BBMP as well, they've said that they will take up measures to prevent such untoward incidents from happening. For example, Tushar Girinath has also promised that he will take care of all such underpasses. There are about 18 such underpasses in Bengaluru, and all such underpasses that do not have a proper drainage facility will be taken care of, is a promise that we are hearing from BBMP and the Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar.
Okay, but what good are these promises, Anagha, at this point of time? I know that the administration, of course, the state government is a very new government, but this is obviously the civic body's responsibility. At the end of the day, these promises right now are completely a waste, because at the moment what we're talking about is loss of life. Lives are being lost because of this civic apathy.
Well, that's right. This is relatively a new government. It's been only a few days since this government came to power, and the onus entirely lies with the BBMP. Even with the previous government, the BBMP has been notorious and infamous for its lapses and the kind of shoddy work that it has done in Bengaluru. So even this recent spate of events, which has resulted in loss of lives due to the rainwater, the onus entirely lies on BBMP. No matter how many promises that the BBMP makes, it keeps on, making mistakes, and it keeps on letting the ball drop. So, it's high time that the civic body, BBMP, really does buckle up and fix the massive civic apathy issue that has riddled the state of Bengaluru.
Absolutely. Anagha, thank you so much for joining us with those details. We're cutting across live to Lieutenant Governor of J&K, Manoj Sinha, speaking.
Like the rest of the states and union territory. Equally pertinent is that tourism cannot grow in isolation. The economics of it is fine. The tourism needs good infrastructure, sound policies, and effective and responsive governance. No less fundamental to me is the fact that only peace and happiness of people can bring warmth in the hospitality we Indians eternally enjoy. And I would like to mention here that tourism in Jammu Kashmir is also a reflection of multi-religious and multicultural ethos of India. Today, Jammu Kashmir stands among the developed regions of India on some miserable milestones, and we are committed for people's prosperity both economically and socially. Honorable Prime Minister has completely eliminated injustice, exploitation and discrimination which several sections of society faced for 7 long decades owing to circumstances that evolved mostly because of orchestration from abroad. Friends, We are ensuring social equality and equal economic opportunity to all citizens, which is also enabling them to contribute to the nation building. Grassroots democracy has been strengthened. New industries are coming up. Rapid agricultural growth is making our villages prosperous. New institutions have been opened up in higher education. Youths are being trained for Industry 4.0. Infrastructure development is progressing rapidly, and our emphasis on technology is transforming Jammu Kashmir into a digital society. In the past 4 years, the ranking of Jammu Kashmir on the various parameters of sustainable development goals have gone up, thanks to visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. And the world can see, the entire society, especially the young generation, is scripting a bright future for themselves and the nation. The speed and scale of rapid development in Jammu Kashmir are awe-inspiring. Our speed to execute infrastructure projects has gone up almost 10 times. I will give you a small example. Only 9,229 projects were completed in the year 1890. In the last financial year, we have completed 92,560 projects. This achievement is a testimony to our resolve of peace and prosperity and making all our citizens equal partners in this journey of growth. Friends, the COVID pandemic made the world realize the hard way the virtues of travelers' well-being and also the values of a shared vision, one earth, one family, and one future. The paradigm shift towards sustainable living, inclusive and sustainable development is also an opportunity to provide new impetus to sustainable tourism. I am truly delighted that under India's G20 presidency, the G20 Tourism Working Group is focusing on 5 interconnected priority areas: green tourism, digitization, skills, tourism, MSMEs, and destination management will provide a roadmap for tourism as a tool for achieving sustainable development goals. Friends, it's encouraging for us to share that Jammu and Kashmir is already working on a few of the priority areas identified by the G20 Tourism Working Group, like on green tourism, skills, tourism MSMEs, and digitalization. In the post-pandemic era, these 5 key building blocks will promote environmental awareness, protect the ecology, and improve the economy and livelihoods of communities and inclusive growth of stakeholders. During the previous Tourism Working Group meetings, the world has seen that Honorable Prime Minister's vision of lifestyle for the environment is at the center of transformation of tourism sector. As I said earlier, the majestic peaks, crystal clear lakes, and serene green landscape of Jammu Kashmir is more than a tourism destination. It is a poetry. It is a land of realization. It is an energy field vibrating with the ageless Indian cultural values. Under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister, we have ensured that the transition in tourism sector in the backdrop of pandemic focuses on needs of travelers, interests of industry stakeholders, create employment opportunities, and promote environmental awareness. Numbers are adding to the narrative. Last year, a record number of 18 million tourists visited Jammu Kashmir, and the last year, tourism sector made more than 7% contribution to the Jammu Kashmir GDP. We have identified 300 new destinations to promote green tourism, small and medium enterprises, youth and women entrepreneurs, and involve local communities to support the sustainable tourism. This Himalayan region is blessed to have 55% green and forest cover, and last year alone, we have planted more than 16 million trees to give a renewed push to green tourism and to provide new gateways and stunning eco destinations for the domestic as well as international travelers. Tourism sector in Jammu Kashmir has been accorded the status of industry and all fiscal incentives as per our industrial policy. And I can tell you, we are receiving massive investment proposal from the industries in the hospitality sector. Friends, Jammu Kashmir used to be the favorite location for Bollywood film industry till late 1980s. After a long pause of almost 4 decades, we have revived the relationship with Bollywood and launched a film policy in 2021 to attract more investment into film sector and to make Jammu Kashmir most popular film shooting destination. Last year alone, more than 300 movies were filmed in the region, and such enthusiasm is bringing about a qualitative change in the lives of the people. For the travelers who want to explore the charming and adorable villages, we have come up with homestay facilities. It is being promoted and marketed by harnessing the power of digital tools, and it also ensures that incredible ecology is protected and promoted. We are grateful to Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi for his consistent effort to develop Jammu and Kashmir as one of the most sought after tourist attraction in the world. Places like Gulmarg, Pahalgaon, Sonmarg, Bangas Valley, Lolav Valley, Srinagar, Jammu, Kishtawar, Sansad, Gurez, Patnitop are now on the global tourism map and offering stunning scenery, skiing, snowboarding, trekking, beautiful and iconic mountain ranges, spiritual experiences, and rich cultural canvas. Several destinations in Jammu Kashmir are living examples of connect between the ancient and the modern, inclusive culture, history, music, and traditional cuisine that can truly provide elevated travel experiences to the people. We are developing the country's first book village on the banks of Uller Lake and many hiking trails for tourists who love tranquility of nature. Our aim is to make the countryside and popular destinations more sustainable and preserve the beauty of fascinating heritage sites. I am confident, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi, Jammu Kashmir will soon find its place in the top 50 destinations in the world, and it will be on the travel bucket list of global travelers. Through this empowered gathering, I invite the world to Jammu and Kashmir. Give us a chance to host you and for you to know us. Come, enjoy and rejuvenate yourself. With these words, I once again welcome delegates of G20 nations. I wish you all a fruitful, enlightened discussion and positive outcomes that will help us building a global architecture for sustainable growth in tourism sector. I hope you will also enjoy our warm hospitality and breathtaking views of Dal Lake. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. I would like to express gratitude to Honorable Lieutenant Governor for sharing his thoughts, and would also like to thank him.
So that is, of course, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, making his opening remarks at the 3rd Tourism Working Group of the G20, which is underway in Srinagar.
For Science and Technology, Shri Jitendra Singh Ji, to share his thoughts with us.
Srinagar city, in fact, is bustling with excitement as it gets set to host the G20 tourism meet. Now, this is the first time that Srinagar is hosting a global event since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. Now, houseboats and shikaras were illuminated with, in fact, beautiful lights amid the G20 summit. Those images of Srinagar as it gets set to host the G20 Tourism Working Group. Houseboats and shikaras were illuminated with beautiful lights amid the G20 summit in the Union Territory. It provided a mesmerizing view to the delegates and expressed the region's unique cultural identity. Kashmiri folk songs and folk dance Rauf were performed as Jammu and Kashmir starts with the G20 summit. The major focus behind this is to boost tourism in the state. Superstar Ram Charan danced to Natu Natu from his movie RRR and was also seen teaching the steps to foreign delegates. He attended the Film Tourism for Economic Growth and Cultural Preservation meet. Various colourful sports events were organised by Jammu and Kashmir Sports Council across Jammu and Kashmir amid the ongoing celebrations of G20. Players belonging to different sports activities participated in many events. Cutting across live now to MOS in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh speaking in Srinagar.
Here and all the friends from different parts of the country being here. As you all know, and as you've been going around since yesterday, I'm sure this visit of yours will also add some added value, the picturesque scenic beauty around, and of course the cuisine which you might have tasted yesterday and will continue to do today as well. I think coming straight to G20 presidency worked upon by Prime Minister Modi is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which in other words means one earth, one family, one future. And if you give it a deeper thought, it is in fact a reflection of the reverence that traditionally India has for the value of life. Life in its all forms, the human life, the animal life, the plant life, the microorganism life. And the G20 logo reflects three colors, which are indeed the colors of the tricolour, which also happens to be the national flag of India. And the visual of Mother Earth in the logo, we could say symbolizes our pro-planet approach or pro-planet leanings. And today when we meet here at the scenic spot of Srinagar, we have this deep realization within us that we are all a part of the global world, and India under Prime Minister Modi is very conscious of that. Our challenges are global, our concerns are global, our benchmarks are global, and our growth has also to be global. And that's why Prime Minister Modi has been time and again in COP meeting expressing his concern about the climate challenges. We have also committed to achieve net zero target by 2070. And I think another significance of holding this event in Srinagar is also that it's a strange blend of our traditional heritage and the most modern infrastructural monuments with cutting-edge technology. Srinagar, Kashmir, is being one of the earliest seats of learning both in Persian as well as in Sanskrit. It has a wide range of craftsmanship, artisanship, ranging from carpets, embroidery, shawls. Recently we had Basoli painting achieving GI tag. And on the other hand, the most infrastructural upgraded monuments. We have the highest railway bridge of the world over here, which is 35 meters higher than the Eiffel Tower. It's located on River Chenab, which is one of the largest rivers of India. Incidentally, happens to be a part of the constituency which I represent in the lower house. We have the Asia's longest bi-directional road tunnel, which is known as Shama Prasad Mukherjee Tunnel. Incidentally, again, a part of my constituency, but that is, I think, what Jammu Kashmir is all about. And I'm sure all these perspectives would add value to our thought processes. I was told in the earlier meetings, the priorities have been green tourism, digitalization, skill, MSME tourism, destination management. I'm sure from here we'll move on. And India, I will just conclude by saying is ready to share the global responsibility as far as our obligation towards economy is concerned, towards environment is concerned, and towards society is concerned. And also one more aspect which was not talked about over yesterday and this morning is that Kashmir also has a significant amount of another aspect of tourism, and that is science tourism. A very few kilometers away from
Now, it is day 2 of the Mega G20 meet in Srinagar, the first global event since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. Massive security around Srinagar has been put in place as the G20 meet is underway. Here's a report from Srinagar city.
Here in Srinagar, there is heavy security presence because of foreign delegates, diplomats who are here. They will be going to the Botanical Garden, to Nishad and many places to sightsee and see the beauty of Kashmir. But the area has been cordoned off for general public. It's from 8 a.m. to late in the evening that this arterial road will not be open for public. They have been stopped, many of them only with passes are being allowed to go. The others are not being allowed to go is because, but there are diversionary routes that have been given. Those who have to travel from this route have been asked to go through the Hazrat Bal Dargah route, so they are not absolutely inconvenienced. But yes, we are in Kashmir. There are issues when it comes to security, and it's the reason why they do not want to, the authorities here do not want to take any chance and have placed heavy security deployment. We've seen have placed security personnel at every nook and corner of the city, ensuring that the visiting delegation, the dignitaries who are here, have a smooth visit and also get to see the important sites here in Srinagar.
श्रीनगर में एक तरफ पर्यटकों की गहमा गहमी है, दूसरी तरफ G20 के जो डेलीगेट्स आए हुए हैं उनका स्वागत सत्कार और बैठक चल रहे हैं। G20 की बैठक को लेकर भले बहुत पांव पटक लिए पाकिस्तान ने, लेकिन अब जो तस्वीरें हैं वो पूरी दुनिया देख रही है कि किस तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर में एक इस स्तर के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कार्यक्रम का आयोजन किया जा रहा है। सुरक्षा व्यवस्था जरूर यहां पर चाक चौबंद है, लेकिन इसके साथ ही जरूरी है इस बात पर ध्यान देना भी कि कश्मीर की गति में कोई परिवर्तन नहीं आया है। आमतौर पर हम ये देखते हैं कि जब भी कोई बड़ा आयोजन होता रहा था इस क्षेत्र में सब कुछ बंद कर दिया जाता था, लेकिन अगर आप देखेंगे तो सब कुछ सुचारू है, सब कुछ चल रहा है। चाहे आम लोग शिकारा राइड्स करना चाहते हो, चाहे फिर दुकानों में जाकर शॉपिंग करना चाहते हो, तो एक तरफ पर्यटक भी आ रहे हैं, पर्यटन भी यहाँ पर चल रहा है, और दूसरी तरफ G20 की वो बैठक चल रही है।
Now, the exchange of 2,000 rupee currency notes begins in banks across India today. Amid the rush to get rid of the soon-to-be outdated currency, there is a boom in gold and silver and petrol pumps as well. Now, the SBI informed that a tenderer won't have to fill any requisition form or provide their identity proof if they're getting their 2,000 rupee currency notes exchanged up to the amount of 20,000 rupees at a time. Only 10 notes can be exchanged at one time. PAN card is needed for cash amounts more than 50,000 rupees a day. Meanwhile, there are three options to exchange, in fact, these 2,000 rupee notes till September 30th. First, use it as legal tender in shops. Second, exchange up to 20,000 rupees in banks. And third, deposit in your bank account.
It's a part of the currency management operations of the Reserve Bank. According to Section 27 of the RBI Act, the Reserve Bank is required to not issue notes which are excessively soiled, defaced or damaged. Under that section, for a long time, the Reserve Bank has been following what is called a clean note policy. Therefore, from time to time, Reserve Bank withdraws currency notes of particular series and issues fresh notes. हमारा expectation ये है कि most of these notes will come back. अभी तो शुरू नहीं हुआ exchange, कल से शुरू होगा. हमारा expectation है कि वापस आ जाएंगे. These notes were primarily issued to replenish the currency, what you call remonetization. That purpose has been fulfilled. Now, what you say, what you have just pointed out is right. I mean, when you have our high value notes, these 2,000 rupee notes or even 500 rupee notes, so far their security features have not been breached, not been compromised.
Meanwhile, Samajwadi Party leader Dr. Ram Gopal Yadav compared Prime Minister Modi to Mohammed bin Tughlaq. Listen in.
मोहम्मद तुगलक को क्या कहा, लोगों ने कैसा सवाल किया करते थे आप लोगों को। भाई ये शासन के बारे में, यहाँ के शासकों के बारे में लोगों की धारणा है। 1500 करोड़ रुपया केवल 2000 नोट के छपाई के लगे थे, छपाई। अब ये दोबारा छपेंगे नए, जो इन्होंने 500 के बंद कर दिए, तो छपेंगे कि नहीं छपेंगे? फिर छपेंगे। तो ये हज़ारों करोड़ रुपया बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, इनको तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता क्या करना चाहिए। किंग कर्तव्य विमूढ़ हो गए। ये सिर्फ इसलिए किया है कि कर्नाटक में बुरी तरह से हार गए हैं, उससे लोगों का ध्यान हटाने के लिए इन्होंने नई पेज डाल दिया। हालांकि ये तो ऐसा है कि साहब दूसरे की अटेंड करने के लिए अपनी आंख फोड़ लो, वही ये कर रहे हैं, सब देश को बर्बाद कर रहे हैं।
Now, the inauguration of the new parliament building by Prime Minister Modi has triggered a massive political storm. The Congress party has accused Prime Minister of breaching constitutional propriety, asserting that as the head of Parliament, President Murmu should have inaugurated the new building and not Modi. Congress accused the BJP of playing cheap politics and said that the office of President has been reduced to mere tokenism. Even the Aam Aadmi Party lashed out at the centre, calling it an insult to President Murmu as well as the tribal and backward communities of the country. The Trinamool Congress alleged that the Prime Minister wanted to take credit for the new parliament, hence he's launching the same, he's inaugurating the same, stating that the new building is a total wastage of money. BJP, however, gave a befitting reply to the Congress, citing proof of times when former Prime Ministers Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi inaugurated Parliament House Annex and laid the foundation stone for the Parliament Library building.
जिस वक्त सेंटर विस्ता की बात आई, उस वक्त भी इन्होंने निगेटिविटी और नकारात्मकता की बात की थी। उस वक्त भी कहा था कि ये कैसे बन रहा है, ये तो बन ही नहीं सकता। फिर कहा कि साहब ये पैसे का जो है वो दुरुपयोग हो रहा है। इनको मालूम नहीं, मोदी जी उस मिट्टी के बने हुए हैं कि जो संकल्प लेते हैं उस संकल्प को वो साकार करते हैं। और अभी जो 2, 4, 10 सीटें आपको या जितनी भी जनता देगी, तो आप उसमें बैठेंगे तो आपके दिमाग में जो नकारात्मकता की बर्फ़ जमी हुई है वो थोड़ा सकारात्मक होगी।
दुख की बात यह है कि जब पूरा लोकतंत्र, हर नागरिक गौरवान्वित महसूस करेगा, उस वक्त कहीं ना कहीं हमेशा नकारात्मक राजनीति के लिए राहुल गांधी और पूरी कांग्रेस पार्टी जानी जाती है। आज इस तरह की खींच, इस तरह की नकारात्मकता क्यों सामने आ रही है? आप सपना देखते हैं, आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वो सपना पूरा किया है, और जिसको ये मोदी महल कहते हैं, ये केवल इनकी जलन और ईर्ष्या है, वो मोदी महल नहीं है। ये एक अनूठी पहल है जिसका स्वागत हर नागरिक कर रहा है।
Parliament is not only of bricks and cements and steel. It is about the voices of people who are voiceless also. Will the mics be on in the new parliament? That's the question we have to ask. Hope that the Prime Minister realizes that Parliament is the temple of democracy, means we should allow the opposition also to speak and their mics should also be on.
Actually, Mr. Modi wants to take credit for building a new Parliament House. In my mind, it is an unnecessary expenditure. It was not necessary. The old Parliament was serving very well. It would be jettisoning, it would be useless wastage of money. If it is to be inaugurated, let it be inaugurated by the President of India.
So massive politics that seems to have broken out over the inauguration of the new parliament building, which is to happen at the hands of Prime Minister Modi on May 28th. Now, the Congress and other opposition parties like the Aam Aadmi Party and the Trinamool Congress saying that this is break from protocol. This isn't right constitutionally because President Murmu should ideally, as the first citizen of the country, inaugurate the new Parliament building. Aishwarya Paliwal is joining us live this morning from Delhi. Aishwarya, politics which seems to have broken out over the inauguration of the new Parliament building, seemingly it will only keep intensifying up until May 28th.
Well, obviously, we have been seeing, Polemy, how the opposition party, especially the Congress party now, is asking the Prime Minister, why is it the Prime Minister who will inaugurate the new Parliament building on the 28th of May? But it's a tit for tat. The Bharatiya Janata Party has come out with a video which shows Rajiv Kumar and Indira Gandhi also doing some inaugurations. So definitely this is a new bone of contention that we are seeing between the opposition parties and the BJP. Let me also tell you one thing, Polemy. It seems like some of the opposition parties might not even accept the invitation given by the Bharatiya Janata Party Assembly for the 28th of May. That's also a possibility because they believe that it should be the President and not the Prime Minister who should be inaugurating the new building.
Okay, so there is a possibility, as Aishwarya is reporting, that some opposition parties may give it a miss, the inauguration of the new Parliament building, because they believe that President Murmu should be inaugurating the building and not Prime Minister Modi. Aishwarya, thank you so much for joining us with those details. Now, opposition leaders are reeling, in fact, and weighing in for a united front against Modi's Sarkar. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar met Congress bigwigs Rahul Gandhi and Chief Mallikarjun Kharge in order to cement a roadmap for the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Meanwhile, Kejriwal is also meeting Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today to gain her support against the newly introduced ordinance on Delhi services. Here's a report.
Battle lines are being drawn for the Lok Sabha polls in 2024. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is at forefront of the mission to unite the opposition. Nitish Kumar on Monday met Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi to discuss the roadmap to the grand finale. It was the second such meeting in the last 1.5 months.
It seems like Nitish Kumar is trying to become the glue which will hold all the opposition parties together. We have seen Nitish Kumar visiting states of Orissa, West Bengal and also Maharashtra. And now he's in the national capital knocking on the doors of the opposition leaders. Nitish Kumar now wants to make sure that over the next 3 to 4 days, all the opposition leaders come together. And that's exactly the point that the Congress party is also at the moment trying to make.
The meeting with Congress netas came a day after Nitish Kumar and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal called for opposition unity to take on the BJP.
अब आप जरा संविधान को देख लीजिए, क्या अधिकार है। जब गवर्नमेंट बनाई जाती है, इलेक्टेड सरकार बनती है, तो उनको जो अधिकार दिया गया है उसको कैसे आप हटा सकते हैं। इसलिए तो हम लोग कह रहे हैं कि सारे देश में सब लोग एकजुट हों, ताकि ये लोग संविधान का भी और किसी भी चीज का अपने ढंग से जो इधर से उधर कर रहे हैं और किस तरह का माहौल बन रहा है।
Meanwhile, Kejriwal is leaving no stone unturned in his fight against the centre. Delhi Chief Minister has sought support of all non-BJP parties on the services ordinance issued by the centre bypassing the Supreme Court verdict.
अगर सारा विपक्ष इकट्ठा हो जाता है, नॉन बीजेपी सारी पार्टियां इकट्ठी हो जाती हैं, तो एक तरह से राज्यसभा के अंदर अगर ये इसको बिल के रूप में लेके आते हैं तो इसको बिल के रूप में हराया जा सकता है राज्यसभा के अंदर। और अगर राज्यसभा के अंदर ये बिल हार गया तो ये एक तरह से 2024 का सेमीफाइनल होगा।
Kejriwal is also set to meet West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee on Tuesday, followed by meetings with Uddhav Thackeray and NCP Chief Sharad Pawar on May 24th and 25th. Nitish Kumar has been meeting opposition and regional party leaders for a while now, and a mega opposition unity meet will also be held in Patna soon.
These are the part of the exercises which for a united opposition. Nitish Kumar ji is doing his job very well. You cannot expect a miracle in 1 day or 2 days. It is an ongoing process. We are on the process.
Will the upcoming meet set the platform for a cohesive opposition bloc? Bureau Report, India Today.
We're slipping into a very short break. Coming up next, Karnataka Mantri MB Patil says no power sharing formula in Karnataka, claims that Siddaramaiah will remain Chief Minister for 5 years. Details on the other side.
We broke CM Sitta 48 hours before Raw. We broke Deputy CM DK 12 hours before Raw.
Their exit poll was the exact poll.
We broke Karnataka formula 72 hours before Raw.
We have that answer for you now on India Today. Siddaramaiah will be the next Chief Minister of Karnataka.
India's #1 political team is unrivaled. Every news break, first on your channel.
You are now smiling and accepting Deputy Chief Ministership.
We have promised them that we'll give a good government with a good governance.
Keeping you ahead is our promise. The war has ended. India Today stands tall.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mode.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today.
News coming in right now. Massive security scare at the White House. The truck rams into a security barrier. The truck driver tries to barge inside White House. Bomb squad, Secret Service teams are at the spot. Robotic search team has been deployed to look for bomb. Now, security service, in fact, the Secret Service finds a Nazi flag from the vehicle. Dramatic images first on India Today. You can see the images of that truck that rammed into a security barrier in Washington, D.C. as it tried to enter the White House. The Secret Service and a bomb disposal squad is at the spot at the moment. They're trying to see if there was a bomb in that truck. A robotic search team has been deployed to look for that bomb. They, in fact, the Secret Service, which is at the spot, has found a Nazi flag from the vehicle. You can see those dramatic images that we're bringing to you first in exclusive on India Today. Shocking breach of security at the White House in Washington, D.C., USA. In fact, that truck which tried to ram into the White House hit a security barrier. That is when the security teams reached the spot immediately and are now searching for any possible explosives on board that truck, that vehicle, what sort of a threat it posed. They're trying to, of course, analyze that and assess that as we speak. What we know so far is that the Secret Service, which is at the spot, has found a Nazi flag from the vehicle. The occupant of that truck, who was driving that truck, were there others? It is being ascertained as we speak. It is a matter of investigation and a very serious security threat there at the White House. Now, images coming in from Karnataka. Massive protests outside Siddaramaya's house. GS Patil backers flock outside the Chief Minister's house in Bengaluru, demand cabinet berth for GS Patil. Now, GS Patil backers hit the streets against Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. You can see those images of those protesters who are basically supporters of GS Patil, who want him to be allotted a cabinet berth are now in fact demanding the same, raising slogans outside the Chief Minister's residence in Karnataka. So after, of course, the Congress tried to quell the aspirations of both Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar for the Chief Minister's chair, they got that settled. Now, of course, is this that they're witnessing and that they're faced with, which is basically those who are representatives of big communities, who have a lot of support, have served a few terms as MLAs. They now want a seat at the state cabinet. Remember, just a few days ago, DK Shivakumar was sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister. Siddaramaiah was sworn in as Chief Minister, and 8 other mantris had also been sworn in. The Congress did a whole lot of balancing act as they tried to ensure that there was enough caste and community representation, that age and experience was taken into account as well. There were some young faces as well. But remember that that is not the number at which the Karnataka State Cabinet will stop at. There will be more inductions into the State Cabinet. So you can see now backers of GS Patil who want him to be given a cabinet berth as well. So aspirations of others who want a seat as well within the State Cabinet now coming to the fore. Supporters now there raising slogans in support of GS Patil right outside the residence of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. You can see those supporters raising slogans in favor of GS Patil. He, of course, just recently won the elections, and now his supporters want him to be rewarded with a cabinet berth. He, in fact, just recently wrested back the seat from BJP's Kalkappa Bandi. And that is, of course, extremely significant. He wants the Congress to take into account his contribution. My colleague Sagai Raj is joining us live. The aspirations of many legislators there, Sagai, coming to the fore because they also want to be rewarded for the work that they've done for the party. They believe that the way, of course, Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar were able to arm twist the Congress High Command, it's possible that if they, in fact, gather support and right outside the Chief Minister's residence, there could be some sort of a cabinet berth that could be waiting for them.
Absolutely. Even outside DCM residence, there are a lot of supporters. DCM DK Shivkumar residence, there are a lot of supporters of Nagendra and a few other MLAs demanding that they should also get the cabinet berth. We have also seen a massive protest outside Siddaramaiah's residence, where the supporters of MLA GS Patil had demanded that he should be getting a cabinet berth. If you notice that in few pockets of Karnataka, wherever Siddaramaiah or DK Shivkumar had campaigned, they had promised the people, stating that if at all if you vote your MLA back to power, definitely he might be the next minister in the state of Karnataka. And there were a large number of people who have also voted for them, and now it is time for them to fulfill. But the Congress have the problem of too many, because they have 100 or around 135 seats across the state, and they have to go according to the caste, seniority as well as the region. So they have to take everything into consideration, and thereafter they have to allot cabinet berth to all those eligible MLAs. But when that will happen, on how much of repercussion that the party might face post cabinet berth, we need to wait and watch.
Okay, so guys, stay on with us. We've got more news that's coming in from Karnataka. Now, there won't be any power sharing between Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar. Karnataka Minister MB Patil has confirmed that. He says that Siddaramaiah will complete a full 5-year tenure as Chief Minister. Says if there was any such power sharing formula, the Congress High Command would have informed them. Now, the two Congress veterans were both vying for the Karnataka Chief Minister's post after the Congress swept the elections in the state on May 13. Now, while the state Congress chief settled for a Deputy Chief Minister's post, that's DK Shivkumar, there was speculation of a 50-50 power sharing formula where both the leaders got to be the Chief Minister for 2.5 years each. But now MB Patil has clarified there is no power sharing formula. Sagai is joining us live from Bengaluru on this. But before that, let's listen in to what MB Patil had to say.
ಪವರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷದ ವರಿಷ್ಠರು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅದರ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ACC ವೇಣುಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ACC ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ
power sharing formula is to share the power to the people of Karnataka. That's all.
My colleague Sagai is joining us live from Bengaluru on this. Sagai, MB Patil says that if there was a power sharing formula, we'd have been informed by the Congress High Command. But because they've not told us so, then clearly there is no power sharing formula. What are you hearing from your sources?
See, on the day when AICC had announced that Siddaramaiah will be the Chief Minister and DK Shivkumar will be the Deputy Chief Minister, there are a lot of speculation and reports stating that probably after 2 years or after 3 years or after Lok Sabha election, there might be change in the leadership where DK Shivkumar will take over as the next Chief Minister within this period. So, but now MB Patil, who is also one of the cabinet ministers in the state, have given a clarification that there is no power sharing. If at all, if there is a power sharing, AICC would have confirmed about this. And in fact, he has also given a clarification today saying that he was trying to reiterate the statements of KC Venugopal. While addressing a press conference in Delhi, KC Venugopal had said that there is no power sharing. If at all, if there is a power sharing, it will be with the people of Karnataka. So he is saying that he was trying to reiterate. He didn't say anything new or anything controversial. I was just trying to repeat what AICC General Secretary KC Venugopal said. So, but this particular statement from the cabinet minister has made a lot of noise in the state of Karnataka, where DK Shivkumar did not speak about this because he's been very vocal on that. Even talking to Rajdeep Sardesai during his interview, he said that he doesn't want to disclose the deliberation or negotiation which has happened during the time of negotiation between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar in Delhi.
Okay, Sagai, just stay on with us. Now, obviously, the BJP is mocking this after MB Patil's statement. What we're learning right now is that after DK Shivkumar's Chief Minister dreams suffer a big jolt, the BJP now mocks the Congress for dashing DK Shivkumar's hopes. Siddaramaiah loyalist rejects split CM post for DK Shivkumar. Now BJP claims that Sidhu DK's government will be shaky. BJP takes ATM Sarkara jibe at the Siddaramaiah government. My colleague Sagai continues to be live with us. Sagai, as you were, of course, discussing about what MB Patil said, the BJP, of course, is using this opportunity to mock the Congress and specifically DK Shivkumar, saying he, in fact, bore all these aspirations to become Chief Minister of Karnataka. After the landslide win for the party, he did not become Chief Minister. And now there isn't a possibility that he will become Chief Minister in 2025 either.
Absolutely. If you notice that it has been served in a platter for a BJP, and they will continue to attack Congress on the same lines, even if DK Shivkumar becomes the Chief Minister, or if he has been replaced by someone else, or Siddaramaiah has been replaced by DK Shivkumar, stating that they might target saying that Siddaramaiah has been humiliated if DK Shivkumar is replaced, or they will say that DK Shivkumar is humiliated because Siddaramaiah is hell-bent to stay back in the power. So it is served in a plate for BJP, and they will try to target on the same lines against the Congress in the days to come.
Okay, Sagai, thank you so much for joining us with all of those details. So this is, of course, an opportunity, as Sagai said, which has been served on a platter to the Bharatiya Janata Party to mock the Congress, with specifically DK Shivkumar saying clearly his chief ministerial hopes and dreams have suffered a blow after Siddaramaiah loyalist MB Patil has stated that there is no power sharing formula. Government school teacher in Karnataka suspended after criticizing the new Siddaramaiah government on social media. While Congress claims the teacher violated government service rules, BJP cries foul, saying that the suspension was the new Congress government's high-handedness. Here's a report.
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರಿನ ನಾನು
Siddaramaiya taking oath as Chief Minister in a massive ceremony in Bengaluru over the weekend. Ushering in, as Rahul Gandhi calls it, Pyar Ki Dukaan.
नफरत के बाजार में कर्नाटक ने लाखों मोहब्बत की दुकानें खोली हैं.
But as Siddaramaiya was sworn in, a man paid the price minutes later for a post where he was critical of the now Chief Minister. This is Shantamurthy MG, a humble school teacher in Chitradurga. He has been suspended out of the blue by his school. Why? Because he shared a post slamming Siddaramaiya. The post claimed Karnataka's debt went up to 2,42,000 crores during his previous stint as Chief Minister from 2013 to 2018. More than the combined debt of past 5 CMs of the state, according to this post. And so he was suspended, supposedly for violating government service rules by mentioning the debts incurred during the previous government periods.
ಸರ್ ಅದು ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಮೊಬೈಲು ಬೇರೆ ಬಳಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಗುಡುಗು ಮಿಂಚು ಇತ್ತು, ನಾನು ಹೊಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು. ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗನ ಕೈಲಿ ನಾನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಹೊಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದೆ ಸರ್. ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಆ ಮೊಬೈಲನ್ನ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಆಯ್ತು ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾರ್ದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಅದು ಯಾರೋ ಬೇರೆ ಹಿರೇಮಠ ಅಂತ ಯಾರೋ ಮುಂಚೆ ಶೇರ್ ನನ್ನ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪರಿಶೀಲನೆ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನ ಡಿಲೀಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಅದು ಈ ಥರ ಆಗಿ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ಸರ್.
His issue has snowballed into a political flashpoint in Karnataka. While Congress defended the suspension, saying government officers are bound by rules, BJP cried foul, saying the suspension was just the beginning of the death of democracy under Siddaramaiya.
The service rules, the department will have to take action, right? So if the department is saying that what he has shared or what he has voiced his opinion about the performance of the previous government or the government is against the service rules, then the department will take action. It's nothing that the government has initiated action, right? The department has done so.
There have been 1,000 posts on social media. For example, there have been Congress supported few people have been lambasting Prime Minister, right, left and center. No one has suspended them. I think this is a high-handedness of the government officials to suspend this teacher only on a Facebook post. You can't suspend a person to please your political bosses. They have suspended him just to please the political bosses.
Is this censorship or a warranted crackdown as per norms? Either way, the Siddu Sarkara has kicked off business on a stormy note.
The teacher alleged that there was no show cause notice or a warning which was being issued much before a suspension letter which was being issued to him. The Congress justified, stating that it is an education department which has issued a suspension order and it has nothing to do with the government. But BJP has hit out, stating that it shows the duplicity of the party. When it comes to BJP, they criticize the government, but when the ball is in their own court, they have justified their move. With you, Shivu Sagaraj reporting for India Today.
Now, heat wave mayhem continues to trouble residents across northern India. Heat wave alert has been issued in several cities of northern India as residents experience soaring mercury levels. Apart from Delhi, parts of Haryana and Punjab are also witnessing scorching heat with maximum temperatures crossing the 44-degree mark in some places. Now, this is the first widespread heat over such a large part, including parts of Uttar Pradesh, parts of Madhya Pradesh, and even covering isolated pockets of Jharkhand and West Bengal. Now, as per the Met Department, light rain showers are expected to bring relief in Delhi from Wednesday onwards for 3 to 4 days.
Chandigarh and Punjab grappling with heat wave. We are in Chandigarh right now, and let me show you. There are several people out here, all having a juice or something to drink. But it's getting really hot. It's somewhere over 40 degrees. Let's just try and have a word. कितनी गर्मी पड़ रही है यहाँ?
मैम टेम्परेचर को कह नहीं सकते, लेकिन गर्मी काफी तेज है और हम टूरिस्ट हैं और हमारे को यहाँ पर देखने को मिला ठंडे पानी की व्यवस्था भी नहीं है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, कोई वाटर कूलर नहीं है, कोई कुछ भी नहीं है, पानी के लिए बहुत परेशान हो रहे हैं, तो हमें जूस पीना पड़ रहा है। पानी के लिए हम सिर्फ या तो बोतल खरीदें या फिर कोई कहीं पे भी मार्केट में कहीं ऐसा कोई वाटर कूलर या कुछ भी अवेलेबल नहीं है।
और लोगों से पूछते हैं कितनी गर्मी है?
बहुत तेज गर्मी है, बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी है, हालत खराब हो रही है हमारी तो बहुत ज्यादा। बाहर निकालने मतलब हम निकले तो हैं, लेकिन ऐसा लग रहा है कि घर में रहते तो बढ़िया रहता, बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी है, हालत खराब हो रही है।
So these are tourists, but let me tell you, this is where the vendors are out here, and obviously for them a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, but also means a lot of business. But yes, advisories have now been issued because the temperatures are all set to rise, and this is where the advisories have been issued by both governments of Chandigarh as well as Punjab, and the administration here has alerted people to stay indoors at least during the peak hours of summer heat. With camera person Chandiram, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Chandigarh for India Today.
And that's a wrap on this bulletin. For all the latest news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app. Thanks for watching.
Summers are devastating for stray animals. The scorching heat wave means animals living on the street struggle for water. Karma Foundation is on a mission to make life easy for stray animals.
This water bowl challenge is also one of such initiatives where we know during the scorching heats of summer has to provide the basic requirement for the health of the pet, which is water, and hence we are actually donating the water bowls.
These water bowls are a big relief for stray animals living under the open sky in sweltering weather. Karma Foundation has requested people to join their movement by placing a bowl of water outside their home or workplace. Bureau Report, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 43 and minimum 32 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 39 and minimum 26 degrees. Bengaluru, maximum 34 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 38 and minimum 25 degrees.
watching India Today.
Prime Minister Modi kickstarts the Australia tour by meeting with company CEOs and Australian businessmen. Former Australian Prime Minister Abbott hails Modi, calls him natural leader of free world. Old politics over new parliament. Opposition targets the Prime Minister over the inauguration. Claims insult to the President of India. BJP slams the Congress over parliament hypocrisy. Cites the examples of Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. 2024 Gadbandhan talks fast track. Now Nitish intensifies mission opposition. Arvind Kejriwal to meet Mamata and Uddhav for support. Karnataka Mantri MB Patil says no power sharing. Claims Sidhu will remain Chief Minister for 5 years. NIA team visits London to probe the Indian mission attack. 5-member NIA team leaves for London to probe the mob attack on the Indian High Commission on the 19th of March. Navy's Made in India missile destroyer NS Mormugao in action hits supersonic sea skimming missile target with deadly accuracy. A very good morning. You're watching India Today TV. Those are the headlines. I'm Sneha Murdani, and here's what our top focus at this hour. We're talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Australia for the last leg of his three-nation tour. And his Australian visit is filled with big events. He kick-started his visit by meeting top Australian CEOs and businessmen. The Prime Minister met the executive chairman of Fortis Future Industries, among many other Australian businessmen. Amid much fanfare, the Prime Minister, a plane full of the Indian diaspora landed in Sydney with Indians donning tricolour turban. The diaspora booked a chartered plane and flew from Melbourne to Sydney only to meet the Prime Minister. Now, even when the Prime Minister landed in Sydney, he got a grand welcome from the Indian diaspora and Modi, Modi chants echoed across. The Prime Minister will attend a community event to celebrate diverse Indian diaspora. Almost 2 lakh Indians are set to pack the Sydney Stadium.
Right now we are in front of the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So a group of eight people, they have climbed this bridge and we have made the history. First it was Modi Airways in the morning 6:30 that took off from Melbourne to Sydney. That happened first time, and now we have climbed this harbour bridge. You can see here, this is Australia-India friendship climb, and we are here. There are 2 pillars. You can see that every friendship has 2 pillars. We have seen the friendship from Mahabharata, where we have Krishna, Arjuna, or where we have Krishna and Sudama. So similarly, Australian and Indian PM, they are meeting here. As we can see the tallest arc bridge in front of me, you can see that we are meeting our tallest leader of the world. You can see the excitement in the diaspora. What I can say, Namo is best, east or west, Namo is the best. And today we have gathered around 18,000 Indian diaspora who have come from different states to see or to hear their beloved Prime Minister Modi. I have written a song for him. If I get a chance, I would like to sing that song in front of this camera. Everyone will sing with me. Namo, 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 namo. Namo, 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 namo. सूरज सा तेज दिखे जिसमें तारों सी जगमग हो. सूरज सा तेज दिखे जिसमें तारों सी जगमग हो. नमो 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 नमो.
Vishal Monga is getting us all of those details, joining us from Sydney right now. Vishal, it's the kind of mood that you get to see from these reports, from these visuals, just speaking volumes of how popular really Prime Minister Narendra Modi is, and the kind of connect, which is just so interesting, and we've spoken about this for many years. I don't think anybody else had this kind of a connect with an Indian leader. Any members of the diaspora had this sort of a connect that Prime Minister has, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, we are here, and inside you can see that a lot of Indians, diaspora people have gathered here. Approximately, it's expected that 20,000 plus people would be here inside the stadium. We have some of the ladies, people from Indian diaspora who are here to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You are here. How do you expect that this environment, how do you plan to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
I have come all the way from Melbourne to welcome our Narendra Modi. So it's an extremely overwhelming experience for all of us here in Australia. We have been living in Australia for past 20, 30 odd years, and it's such a proud moment that Modi is here today and the amount of things he is doing for India. And we are super proud to be Indian. We are proud that Modi is here today, and we just love Modi.
How big is this event? Do you see this kind of crowd normally in Melbourne or Australia?
We have around 25,000 odd people coming in here today, and I believe every state has been allocated different amount of tickets. I'm pretty sure thousands of people are coming from Melbourne as well. We did have a Modi Airlines fly in from Melbourne this morning, so I have a lot of Modi fans coming along in the Modi Airways this morning as well for the event.
So you heard people have come not only from Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, Tasmania. A lot of people have come here, and it is expected that around 20,000 plus people would be here welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a superhero style.
That's right. You know, Vishal, of course, the excitement is for us to see right here with an entire plane of members of the Indian diaspora actually flying down to meet with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But just talk to us a little about what really the plan is as far as today's concern, bilaterals are concerned, and what next for the Prime Minister as part of his itinerary.
Yes, indeed. What I can tell you is that the program will start at around 5 o'clock and will go on for around 2 hours. And right now the stadium is, you can see a lot of MPs will really fill in within half an hour from now. Not only that people from Melbourne, but also the CEOs of top companies met Prime Minister Narendra Modi today, and the focus and the agenda was trade between India and Australia. That's very important. Tomorrow is a big day for Australia and India, where the bilateral talks would there will be bilateral talks between the Australian Prime Minister and the Indian Prime Minister. Let's again go back to the people who have come here. Now you've come here. How important are the ties between India and Australia?
To develop friendship, because I think it is going to create a very given, I would say that. But India and Australia have a very close friendship with respect to sport. We play cricket and we are tough competitors of each other with respect to anything. I believe many of us who have migrated to Australia have brought in the Indian culture here, try to mingle it along with the local community. While coming on the train, we all got compliments saying that the colourful shining, but that's what makes a great performance. Please give it up.
So you heard about the cultural ties, the wonderful sarees they're wearing, and also the colorful clothes the Indian wear. That is basically an eye-catching. But what I can tell you is that this event, after this event, there's important meeting between the Indian Prime Minister and the Australian Prime Minister. We can talk about the trade. Australia is trying to replace China and make India as one of the important economic partners so that they don't have to rely on China.
All right, Vishal, I'm going to thank you for getting us up to speed with that. Vishal Monga joining us from the historic Sydney Opera House there. Prime Minister Modi and top Australian CEOs had a fruitful meeting with much insightful discussions. And Australian CEOs were just awestruck by the Prime Minister. Listen in.
Prime Minister, of course, is a very impressive person who understands business, which is very encouraging as well. The Prime Minister talked about his dreams for India and his ethic, which was a really powerful message. Australian Super does invest in India, of course, and in particular the National Indian Infrastructure Fund. And we've had very good experience in investing in India.
We acknowledged together that the fossil fuel sector has only limited time to run, and it must be replaced with a fuel which causes no harm but can do everything which coal, oil and gas can do. I also thanked him for his humanitarian efforts. Under Prime Minister Modi, he's been able to spread economic growth throughout the grassroots of India. This has really helped with eliminating one country after another. We all have to do it, slavery from India, and I showed my gratitude for that.
You know, Australia really needs to work harder to develop its relations with India. You just need to look at the investment that has flowed to India from, I think it's about 60 different countries under Prime Minister. As you know, your wonderful Prime Minister came to office on a terribly important mantra, which was from red tape to red carpet. In other words, cut approvals, cut regulations, so you can welcome investment. And that's what he's done, and that's what he wants to do for his country.
Mr. Modi is the number one change maker in the sanitation space globally. Absolutely number one. There's no one comes close. I'm not a strong political person as such, but in terms of his social impact in this very important field, no one in the world has come close. The Swachh Bharat program is it's the biggest sanitation infrastructure program in human history. Nothing comes close.
Earlier, my colleague Pooja Shali had a word with former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Listen in to what he had to say.
Joining me this morning is a special guest. Former Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott, is joining us in this morning telecast. Mr. Abbott, I appreciate you giving us your time and speaking to India Today television. You've also met Prime Minister Modi earlier when you were the Prime Minister. There have been a lot of talks on trade agreements, on investment. How do you look at this moment right now as the Indian Prime Minister is back in Australia and there are a lot of meetings scheduled?
Wonderful to have Prime Minister Modi back in Australia. This is his first visit since 2014. Yes, there have been a number of Australian prime ministerial visits to India in the meantime, but regular visits at the top level between good friends are very important to developing the relationship. And I don't think India has a more prospective partner anywhere in the world than Australia. I think Australia has wonderful potential to be a source of resource security to India, as well as wonderful potential to be an additional security partner in a world which is at the moment looking quite unsettled, even dangerous.
Mr. Abbott, your meetings previously have been with Prime Minister Modi and focusing on boosting people-to-people ties, on economic relationships as well. Do you think that is something that needs to be, again, bridges that must be formed more? That is something that needs to be pushed ahead in this meeting as well?
As Prime Minister Modi himself said just yesterday, the nearly 1 million Australians of Indian background form a living bridge between our two countries. But I don't think that India should only be of interest to the Indian diaspora here in Australia. I think India should be of massive interest to the general Australian population. First, because India has enormous potential to substitute for China as a market and as a source of goods in our vital supply chains. And second, because India is the world's emerging democratic superpower. And in the world right now, we sure need another democratic superpower to help the United States to maintain a rules-based global order. This rules-based global order is under massive challenge, obviously from Russia in Ukraine, but in our part of the world, particularly from China. And this is where I think India has so much potential to be a force for good. India has democracy, the rule of law, to a considerable extent the English language, the world's common language. And this is why I think in the decades to come, if there is to be a leader of the free world, it's as likely to be the Indian Prime Minister as the American President.
Some top developments for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Australia. Let's take a quick look. The Prime Minister arrived in Sydney as part of the third and final leg of his three-nation tour. On Monday night, he was received by the Australian High Commissioner to India, Barry O'Farrell, and the officials upon his arrival. Members of the Indian diaspora gave a grand welcome. As he landed in Sydney last night, several Indians were seen sporting the tricolour, excited to meet their favourite leader. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with top Australian CEOs in Sydney. He pitched India among the top investment destinations of the world. He invited Australian CEOs to partner with India's growth story. About 170 Indian origin people took a chartered flight from Melbourne to Sydney to attend the Prime Minister's event. Members of the Indian-Australian Diaspora Foundation, sporting tricolour-themed turbans and waving the national flag, danced their way to the flight named by the Prime Minister's supporters as Modi Airways. Welcome Modi, spelled by a recreational aircraft, contrails over Sydney sky before the Prime Minister's Indian community event at 1:30 p.m. Well, there's so many opportunities for viral moments, and let's take a look at some of them. The Prime Minister, of course, is on a three-nation tour. He's once again wowed the world with his fiery and yet subtle presence at the G7 summit in Hiroshima and Papua New Guinea. Modi, as always, has grabbed global eyeballs with the visits and many moments among those have gone viral. Take a look.
Waiting animatedly to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Joe Biden hugs the Indian Prime Minister in Japan. The US leader said he should ask for the Prime Minister's autograph. President Biden apparently enamored of the Indian Prime Minister's popularity in the United States. The White House already swamped by requests from American Indians wanting to attend Prime Minister Modi's programs during his state visit to Washington, D.C. next month. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese faces similar challenges. He jokingly complained that the community reception in honor of Prime Minister Modi in Sydney, scheduled for Tuesday, has been fully sold out. The venue, with a capacity of 20,000, is going to be a full house. But a large number of requests are still pouring in from Australian Indians for entry tickets. Prime Minister Modi shared a warm hug with his British counterpart Rishi Sunak. He's meeting with the Ukrainian president and mingling with diaspora Indians. Videos of Prime Minister Modi from Japan's Hiroshima hosting the G7 summit took social media by storm. And this clip from Papua New Guinea touched millions of hearts. Prime Minister Modi greeted with a traditional Indian gesture upon arrival by the Prime Minister of the island country in the Southwest Pacific Ocean. And on Monday, Prime Minister Modi conferred with the highest honor of Fiji by its premier in recognition of his global leadership. India's moment shines once again on the global stage. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's time for a quick commercial break. Here on the other side, old politics over new parliament building. Opposition targets the Prime Minister over inauguration, claims insult to the President of India. The BJP slams the Congress over parliament hypocrisy.
You are watching India Today.
The heart of India's tech industry hosts a tectonic event. The latest updates in technology and innovation. The biggest names in Indian tech under one roof. From AI to 5G, From EVs to data security, discover how technology is transforming our lives. Catch all the action at the BT Tech Today Congress in Bengaluru on June 2nd, live across the Business Today multiverse.
Traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political background.
she takes the news by its horns.
You think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
You are watching India Today.
Welcome back. Opposition leaders are feeling for a united front against the Modi Sarkar. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar met Congress bigwigs Rahul Gandhi and Chief Mallikarjun Kharge in order to cement a roadmap for 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Meanwhile, Arvind Kejriwal is also meeting Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today to gain her support against the newly introduced ordinance. Here's more.
Battle lines are being drawn for the Lok Sabha polls in 2024. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is at forefront of the mission to unite the opposition. Nitish Kumar on Monday met Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi to discuss the roadmap to the grand finale. It was the second such meeting in the last 1.5 months.
It seems like Nitish Kumar is trying to become the glue which will hold all the opposition parties together. We have seen Nitish Kumar visiting states of Orissa, West Bengal and also Maharashtra. And now he's in the national capital knocking on the doors of the opposition leaders. Nitish Kumar now wants to make sure that over the next 3 to 4 days, all the opposition leaders come together. And that's exactly the point that the Congress party is also at the moment trying to make.
The meeting with Congress netas came a day after Nitish Kumar and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal called for opposition unity to take on the BJP.
अब आप जरा संविधान को देख लीजिए, क्या अधिकार है। जब गवर्नमेंट बनाई जाती है, इलेक्टेड सरकार बनती है, तो उनको जो अधिकार दिया गया है उसको कैसे आप हटा सकते हैं। इसलिए तो हम लोग कह रहे हैं कि सारे देश में सब लोग एकजुट हों, ताकि ये लोग संविधान का भी और किसी भी चीज का अपने ढंग से जो इधर से उधर कर रहे हैं और किस तरह का माहौल बन रहा है।
Meanwhile, Kejriwal is leaving no stone unturned in his fight against the centre. Delhi Chief Minister has sought support of all non-BJP parties on the services ordinance issued by the centre bypassing the Supreme Court verdict.
अगर सारा विपक्ष इकट्ठा हो जाता है, नॉन बीजेपी सारी पार्टियां इकट्ठी हो जाती हैं, तो एक तरह से राज्यसभा के अंदर अगर ये इसको बिल के रूप में लेके आते हैं तो इसको बिल के रूप में हराया जा सकता है राज्यसभा के अंदर। और अगर राज्यसभा के अंदर ये बिल हार गया तो ये एक तरह से 2024 का सेमीफाइनल होगा।
Kejriwal is also set to meet West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee on Tuesday, followed by meetings with Uddhav Thackeray and NCP Chief Sharad Pawar on May 24th and 25th. Nitish Kumar has been meeting opposition and regional party leaders for a while now, and a mega opposition unity meet will also be held in Patna soon.
These are the part of the exercises which for a united opposition. Nitish Kumar ji is doing his job very well. You cannot expect a miracle in 1 day or 2 days. It is an ongoing process. We are on the process.
Will the upcoming meet set the platform for a cohesive opposition bloc? Bureau Report, India Today.
We have some more news just coming in. Jailed AAP leader Manish Sisodia slammed the Prime Minister. Manish Sisodia says, very arrogant Prime Minister attacks. Sisodia says the Prime Minister has become very arrogant. Modi doesn't believe in democracy is what Manish Sisodia has said. He's a former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi and has been jailed for weeks together in connection with the excise policy scam.
मनीष जी ऑर्डिनेंस लेके आया केंद्र में
ऑर्डिनेंस से कुछ कहना चाहेंगे सर? ऑर्डिनेंस अहंकार हो गया है मोदी जी को, ना वो लोकतंत्र को मानते हैं। केजरीवाल जी के काम के लिए वो बहुत अहंकार में डूब गए मोदी जी।
मनीष जी ऑर्डिनेंस लेके आया केंद्र में
ऑर्डिनेंस से कुछ कहना चाहेंगे सर? ऑर्डिनेंस अहंकार हो गया है मोदी जी को, ना वो लोकतंत्र को मानते हैं। केजरीवाल जी के काम के लिए वो बहुत अहंकार में डूब गए मोदी जी।
Shrishti Ojha is getting us more details. Shrishti, there, the former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia, with that response against the Prime Minister, criticizing the Prime Minister. Of course, the AAP continues to say that this is a non-case. It's political vendetta.
Well, yes, Neha, like you said, definitely a direct attack against the Prime Minister on Centre's ordinance that has been brought in recently regarding Delhi administration. As we know, Manish Sisodia, who's Delhi's former Deputy CM, is currently in custody in relation to the Delhi excise policy case. Today, he was produced before Delhi's Rouse Avenue court as his custody in the money laundering case ended today. His judicial custody has today been extended to 1st June. So, yes, no relief on that front for Sisodia. However, when he was leaving court and he was confronted by the media and asked for response about Centre's recent ordinance regarding Delhi administration, he has in an attack against the Prime Minister said that the Prime Minister has become very arrogant and has no respect for democracy whatsoever. He also said that Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal is doing a lot of work in Delhi, but the Prime Minister has become arrogant and doesn't believe in democracy. His exact words were बहुत अहंकार हो गया है मोदी जी को, ना वो लोकतंत्र को मानते हैं. This is what he said while leaving Rouse Avenue Court. So yes, definitely a direct attack against the centre and more so against the Prime Minister of the country by Delhi's former Deputy CM today. Back to you.
Right. Shrishti, I'm going to thank you for that quick update. Shrishti Ojha with that report on what the former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia said when confronted by reporters. Moving on, inauguration of the new Parliament building by the Prime Minister has triggered a massive political firestorm. The Congress party accused the Prime Minister of breaching constitutional propriety, asserting that as the head of Parliament, President Draupadi Murmu should have been inaugurating the new building and not the Prime Minister. Congress accused the BJP of playing cheap politics and said that the office of the President has been reduced to mere tokenism. Even AAP lashed out at centre, calling it an insult to Murmu as the tribal and backward communities of the country. The TMC has alleged that the Prime Minister wanted to take credit for the new Parliament, hence is launching the same, saying that the new building is a total wastage of money. BJP, however, gave a befitting reply to the Congress, citing proof of the times when former Prime Ministers Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi inaugurated the Parliament House the next day and laid foundation stone of the Parliament Library.
जिस वक्त सेंटर विस्ता की बात आई उस वक्त भी इन्होंने नेगेटिविटी और नकारात्मकता की बात की थी. उस वक्त भी कहा था कि ये कैसे बन रहा है, ये तो बन ही नहीं सकता. फिर कहा कि साहब ये पैसे का जो है वो दुरुपयोग हो रहा है. इनको मालूम नहीं, मोदी जी उस मिट्टी के बने हुए हैं कि जो संकल्प लेते हैं उस संकल्प को वो साकार करते हैं. और अभी जो 2, 4, 10 सीटें आपको या जितनी भी जनता देगी तो आप उसमें बैठेंगे तो आपके दिमाग में जो नकारात्मकता की बर्फ़ जमी हुई है वो थोड़ा सकारात्मक होगी.
दुख की बात यह है कि जब पूरा लोकतंत्र हर नागरिक गौरवान्वित महसूस करेगा उस वक्त कहीं ना कहीं हमेशा नकारात्मक राजनीति के लिए राहुल गांधी और पूरी कांग्रेस पार्टी जानी जाती है. आज इस तरह की खींच, इस तरह की नकारात्मकता क्यों सामने आ रही है? आप सपना देखते हैं, आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वो सपना पूरा किया है, और जिसको ये मोदी महल कहते हैं, ये केवल इनकी जलन और ईर्ष्या है, वो मोदी महल नहीं है। ये एक अनूठी पहल है जिसका स्वागत हर नागरिक कर रहा है।
Parliament is not only of bricks and cements and steel. It is about the voices of people who are voiceless also. Will the mics be on in the new Parliament? That's the question we have to ask. Hope that the Prime Minister realizes that Parliament is the temple of democracy, means we should allow the opposition also to speak and their mics should also be on.
Actually, Mr. Modi wants to take credit for building a new Parliament House. In my mind, it is an unnecessary expenditure. It was not necessary. The old Parliament was serving very well. It would be jettisoning, it would be useless wastage of money. If it is to be inaugurated, let it be inaugurated by the President of India.
With that, it's time for a quick commercial break. Here on the other side, Dr. Farooq Abdullah's daughter, Safia, is mocking the G20 event in Kashmir. We're getting you that detailed report in just a minute.
You are watching India Today. Watching India Today.
Some news is coming in. NC patron Dr. Farooq Abdullah's daughter, Safia, has been slammed for malicious tweet. Mocking the G20 event in Naya Kashmir, Safia pointed to a policeman guarding the VVIP zone, claiming normalcy, in fact, is something that is there's pretense of normalcy. Twitter has called out this elitist hypocrisy. Safia asked, isn't the cop guarding your home? Shameless, irresponsible Kashmiri elites. Casually, she puts the security men at risk. Also, the policeman protects her VVIP lane, and she's tweeted that particular photograph. Safia Abdullah Khan, daughter of NC patron Dr. Farooq Abdullah, has now put out this tweet. How to give an air of normalcy, hide the forces behind screens is what she says. She's put security men at risk by putting out this picture. Essentially a policeman guarding several streets of Srinagar and the road leading up to the venue as well of the G20 summit that is going on in Srinagar as we speak. That is in fact being held as several leaders from various countries are in fact in Srinagar for the G20 summit. However, Dr. Farooq Abdullah's daughter has put out that tweet, in fact showing that a policeman is standing behind the screen. How to give an air of normality is what she said, putting out that tweet. The question that Twitterati is now asking, and we're also asking, is whether this is not irresponsible of her. Is she not then putting security men at risk also, who are doing their job of ensuring security for this region at a time when the G20 summit is being held here? This is the G20 event in Kashmir, in Srinagar, the first international summit in years together. First international event in years, together with Dr. Farooq Abdullah's daughter, Safia, putting out that tweet. The question is, why should she in fact put out this picture? Giving out details of where the security personnel are. Is she not risking them is the big questions. And is security of this nature in any international event not normal? In fact, these are policemen who are protecting the VVIP lane where several political leaders stay. However, the daughter of Dr. Farooq Abdullah has chosen to put out that picture, taking a dig at the G20 summit, saying that things aren't normal and that all of this is fake. Gaurav Sawant is getting asked more details on that, our managing editor. Gaurav, you know, this is upsetting at various levels. If things are moving to normalcy and if India has made an attempt to organize an international event of this nature, of this magnitude in Srinagar, why should somebody pull the country down also? Putting security men at risk by putting out their photograph. These are security men who also guard the lane in which several political leaders, including Dr. Farooq Abdullah, Safia's father, stays in.
In fact, Sneha, that's very well put. On various social media platforms, that these are security personnel who are deployed in Kashmir Valley to protect the people in Kashmir Valley from Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. And people like Safia Abdullah would know better, considering her brother is a former chief minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. Her father is a member of parliament and former chief minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir and former chief minister of the state. And then former union minister. And yet, she puts out a picture which is then instantly shared by a radical Islamist terrorist organization called the Resistance Front, which is seen as a front of Lashkar-e-Taiba. So, this has led to a huge furor across the country, that why would such people who benefited so immensely for decades from security provided by the Indian state put out these images that would defame India. And that's the narrative that some people in the Kashmir Valley have been desperately trying to put out, that Kashmir is still, for example, Mehbooba Mufti saying Kashmir is like the Guantanamo Bay during the G20 working group. So this has led to a lot of unhappiness across quarters in the country, but then that's the narrative that some are trying to peddle. Neha.
That's something I would say that maybe really isn't totally unexpected, Gaurav. But the fact is that at a time, on a day when Srinagar city, of course, is also bustling with excitement, and obviously there will be security for an international, event of this nature. Why would you put the life of a security personnel at risk by doing what she's done, knowing how sensitive the situation is in this region, Gaurav? And should there not be action?
This year,
yes,
the Jammu and Kashmir administration has put out figures saying a record number of 1.88 crore tourists have already visited Kashmir. This is 2022. Never before in the history of Jammu and Kashmir did 1.88 crore tourists visit Jammu and Kashmir. That is because terrorism is down. Unfortunately, there are some within the country who are looking not at the silver lining but at the dark cloud, despite being in power for decades in Kashmir Valley. Whether it's the Abdullahs or the Muftis, they've been in power for decades in the valley. Mehbooba Mufti, may say Kashmir is Guantanamo Bay. Terrorism started and she should answer those questions. Her father was Union Home Minister when terrorists were released because her sister was abducted by terrorists. She was Chief Minister and her party is considered to be very close to very undesirable elements in Jammu and Kashmir. So those who've enjoyed benefits of power, because there's a new leadership rising in Kashmir, and that's the question that is being asked. Are they feeling so upset that they are not at the helm of power and there is a new leadership that is coming up in Jammu and Kashmir? Is that why they're cribbing about sour grapes in the valley?
I'm going to thank you, Gaurav, for getting us those details. Our managing editor putting that important story into perspective. But let's now talk about Srinagar city, which is bustling with excitement as it hosts the G20 tourism meeting. This is the first time that Srinagar is hosting a global event of this nature since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. Houseboats and shikaras were illuminated with beautiful lights amid the G20 summit in the Union Territory. It provided a mesmerizing view to the delegates, expressed the region's unique cultural identity. Kashmiri folk songs and folk dance Rauf were performed as Jammu and Kashmir started with the G20 summit. The major focus behind this is to boost tourism in the state. Superstar Ram Charan danced to Oscar-winning Natu Natu from his movie RRR and was also seen teaching the steps to foreign delegates. He attended the Film Tourism for Economic Growth and Cultural Preservation meeting.
As I invite on.
Various colourful sports events were organised by the Jammu and Kashmir Sports Council across Jammu and Kashmir amid the ongoing celebrations of G20. Players belonging to different sports activities participated in many events. Indian bureaucrat Amitabh Khan said that Kashmir is the best place for shooting films. He further said that the centre will provide assistance in shooting movies and shoot locations. Well, here's a report that my colleague Shweta Singh, in fact, is sent from Srinagar because it's an important day, an important time for the Union Territory. And we're talking about day 2 of the mega G20 meeting in Srinagar. Take a look.
श्रीनगर में एक तरफ पर्यटकों की गहमा गहमी है, दूसरी तरफ G20 के जो डेलीगेट्स आए हुए हैं उनका स्वागत सत्कार और बैठक चल रहे हैं। G20 की बैठक को लेकर भले बहुत पांव पटक लिए पाकिस्तान ने, लेकिन अब जो तस्वीरें हैं वो पूरी दुनिया देख रही है कि किस तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर में एक इस स्तर के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कार्यक्रम का आयोजन किया जा रहा है। सुरक्षा व्यवस्था जरूर यहां पर चाक चौबंद है, लेकिन इसके साथ ही जरूरी है इस बात पर ध्यान देना भी कि कश्मीर की गति में कोई परिवर्तन नहीं आया है। आमतौर पर हम ये देखते हैं कि जब भी कोई बड़ा आयोजन होता रहा था इस क्षेत्र में सब कुछ बंद कर दिया जाता था, लेकिन अगर आप देखेंगे तो सब कुछ सुचारू है, सब कुछ चल रहा है। चाहे आम लोग शिकारा राइड्स करना चाहते हो, चाहे फिर दुकानों में जाकर शॉपिंग करना चाहते हो, तो एक तरफ पर्यटक भी आ रहे हैं, पर्यटन भी यहाँ पर चल रहा है और दूसरी तरफ G20 की वो बैठक चल रही है।
Anash, in fact, a Foreign Affairs Editor, Geeta Mohan, is in Srinagar as well and getting us the very latest on that. Geeta, give us a sense of what really is expected today as far as the G20 summit, the meeting is concerned. What really is on the itinerary?
Well, Sneha, it's not a summit. The summit is going to take place later this year in July, but this certainly is a very important meeting. Now, there are so many, over 200 G20 meetings that are taking place and will be taking place across the country. What is significant over here, and many of them, Sneha, we don't really cover because these are working group meetings. What's significant is that this is being held in Srinagar, and the chosen theme for which Srinagar was chosen as the destination is tourism. So we're talking about film tourism, we're talking about film diplomacy, and the participation itself goes to show how many countries, almost all barring a few, are endorsing India and India's stand on Kashmir. I just spoke to the South Korean ambassador to India just a while ago. He's been dancing with the stars as also with the folk dancers of Kashmir last evening. We'll show you that as well to show that yes, there is a lot of excitement, but it comes amid a lot of security. Kashmir is different. It's not like any other city. So we have a lot of restrictions in certain parts. There are reports of how life is going on as normal in certain parts like Lal Chowk, where people have not been restricted to do what they want to. But we are also given to understand that schools have been shut till Thursday. There is a massive security issue and concern. This is the Dal Lake. Dal Lake is huge, Sneha. So while we're talking about Shikara rides, it can't happen in this part of the Dal Lake. There are boats that are going only for protocol officers, ambassadors, diplomats. If you see the boats on the far end of this Dal Lake, they are all security boats at the far end of this area. And we are here at the Srinagar Sher Kashmir International Convention Center, which again, massive preparation to brief diplomats, to engage the diplomats. There are shamiana for a beautiful dinner that was laid out for the visiting dignitaries. So it's a massive affair trying to project Kashmir and India amid heightened security and control of this region and this area, where the diplomats and the delegates will be taken to all the important sites within Srinagar. Earlier, they were also to go to Gulmarg, but that plan has for now been cancelled.
All right, I'm going to thank you, Geeta, for getting us all of those details. Our Foreign Affairs editor with her perspective on the G20 group meetings. Peak summers in many parts of the country, and we are talking about heat wave conditions. The mayhem continues to trouble residents across North India, particularly perturbed by increasing temperatures and heat wave-like conditions. Heat wave alert has been issued in several cities of northern India. Residents experience increasing mercury levels. Apart from Delhi, parts of Haryana and Punjab are witnessing scorching heat, maximum temperatures crossing the 44-degree mark in many places. This is the first widespread heat over such a large part, including parts of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and even covering isolated pockets of Jharkhand and West Bengal in the east. As per the Met Department, light rain showers are expected to bring relief in Delhi from Wednesday onwards for 3 to 4 days.
Chandigarh and Punjab grappling with heat wave. We are in Chandigarh right now, and let me show you. There are several people out here, all having a juice or something to drink. But it's getting really hot. It's somewhere over 40 degrees. Let's just try and have a word. कितनी गर्मी पड़ रही है यहाँ?
मैम, टेम्परेचर को कह नहीं सकते, लेकिन गर्मी काफी तेज है और हम टूरिस्ट हैं और हमारे को यहाँ पर देखने को मिला ठंडे पानी की व्यवस्था भी नहीं है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, कोई वाटर कूलर नहीं है, कोई कुछ भी नहीं है, पानी के लिए बहुत परेशान हो रहे हैं, तो हमें जूस पीना पड़ रहा है। पानी के लिए हम सिर्फ या तो बोतल खरीदें या फिर कोई कहीं पे भी मार्केट में कहीं ऐसा कोई वाटर कूलर या कुछ भी अवेलेबल नहीं है।
और लोगों से पूछते हैं कितनी गर्मी है?
बहुत तेज गर्मी है, बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी है, हालत खराब हो रही है हमारी तो बहुत ज्यादा। बाहर निकालने मतलब हम निकले तो हैं, लेकिन ऐसा लग रहा है कि घर में रहते तो बढ़िया रहता, बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी है, हालत खराब हो रही है।
So these are tourists, but let me tell you, this is where the vendors are out here, and obviously for them a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, but also means a lot of business. But yes, advisories have now been issued because the temperatures are all set to rise, and this is where the advisories have been issued by both governments of Chandigarh as well as Punjab, and the administration here has alerted people to stay indoors at least during the peak hours of summer heat. With camera person Chandhiram, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Chandigarh for India Today.
Moisture incursion is there in northwest India, and already Rajasthan, say 3 UTC temperatures have fallen slightly, so we are expecting that Rajasthan temperatures will fall slightly, but heat wave conditions will persist, and from tomorrow we will see amelioration because there is a fresh western disturbance coming, so medium upper level clouds will cover the sky, and moisture also incursion will start, so we are expecting that temperatures will start to fall over this entire region and heat wave conditions will